Hi guys, I want to talk to you about carb refeeding or carb cycling. Do I do it? I do whenever I get to a certain point, and I'm going to talk to you about that more towards the end of this video. But what I'm going to do is I want to tell you what carb refeeding and the GI index does to your system. What is a GI index? GI index is basically the amount of time it takes glucose to go into your mouth and affect your system, like your blood transport. And how do they figure that out? Well, they'll actually take like 50 grams of glucose and they'll give it to somebody and they'll figure out how long it takes for it to hit their bloodstream, how long it takes for them to actually have an increase in blood sugar based on the ingestion of the glucose. And then they take that number with a GI index of 100, glucose is 100, and they'll compare that to other things. So, like if you eat asparagus, it's one of the lower ones. So, like low is 1 to 55, and then medium is like 56 to 69, and high is 70 to 100 on your glycemic index. So asparagus sits down at 15, and it's a very starchy vegetable, and people are kind of confused and sometimes like, well, why do you eat so much asparagus? I eat asparagus because asparagus doesn't get broke down until it actually gets into the colon. And when asparagus reaches the colon, it starts to break down through the enzymatic response. And that inulin fiber is a great prebiotic food for your probiotic, and it's great for your microbiome. Asparagus has a number of good things that it can actually aid in nutrition wise, giving back to your body. And then, so for like Thomas DeLauer also talks about grapefruit. Grapefruit is like 25 on your GI index, and it actually has a reactive measure to the liver, where when it goes into your body, it actually tells your liver to stop using anything else as its fuel source, and actually kind of like promotes it to start using fat. So that's why grapefruit is in a lot of different diets, and it has great benefits for the body. The other one that he used as reference was buckwheat, but that's just because buckwheat has such a low glycemic index because it has fiber in it, and it doesn't seem to be harmful to somebody's body. And buckwheat is not actually like a grain; it's more like a seed. So it doesn't have like a huge effect on your body. So using stuff like that when you carb refeed, as well as like sweet potatoes that have starch in it. So if you look at like a glycemic index versus a glycemic load, the index is how long it takes for it to actually hit your blood sugar and make it spike. The load is when it hits your blood sugar and it spikes, how long it stays. So if you use fibrous things like sweet potatoes and potatoes that have great amounts of potassium and stuff in it, and you use those to refeed on your carb day to kind of replenish some of the water and stuff in your joints to help soothe your joints, because my joints, they're inflamed, and I hurt myself so much in the service, carrying all the weight all the time, doing all the field training where we're out in the field for 30 days in the swamp, and then going to Iraq and having to run all over that terrain with 100, 125, 150 pound extra addition of weight on me all the time, because I was an FO. I was the radio guy and the forward observer, so I carried all the extra batteries, all the extra radios. That was my job. It tore me up, and every couple months I'll have real bad joint pain, and I know that it's time. Okay, I can't keep going this way. Like, even though keto has made me come off of, or has helped me come off of all my medication, I don't have to take it anymore. Every couple months I will have one day where I have extra sweet potatoes, extra regular potatoes. I'll have extra tons of asparagus. I'll get the grapefruit and stuff in. And Thomas DeLauer is the one that actually helped me out with this, because everybody was demonizing it at first. And I said, you know what, I'm not listening to any of these other jerks anymore. Basically, I'm tired of listening to people that always want to think that they know everything, and there is somewhat of a purpose to certain things. So carb refeeding can be beneficial to somebody that has a lot of pain, or maybe they hit a point where they have been keto for so long that in my belief, they start to kind of get used to it, and just shaking things up a little bit will get them back to losing weight again. Now, do I promote carb refeeding or recycling? No, I don't ever talk to people about doing it, but it's been coming up a lot more lately. And I just simply wanted to talk about why I use it and what the benefits of it can be. And they say it can break stalls. They say it can replenish the glycogen and stuff in your body to kind of give your body a little bit of a break from breaking down protein to replenish the glycogen or the glucose. Um, they say it's nice to shake things up, but whether that's true or not, who knows? Nobody's perfect. Just like I'm not a guy for using ketones, but lately I've been seeing a lot of new people use it in their induction phase into ketosis, like that first week or two, and they'll just have ketones like once a day or once in the morning and once at night, and they're actually successful coming through the induction phase without even so much of the keto flu. So there's going to be some stuff that comes out about this over the next couple weeks, maybe months, and people are starting to pick it up even more and more. I don't ever tell people that they should have the ketone supplements, but it may be beneficial in the induction phase, and then after that you don't even need it anymore. Now I have to say before I get off of here that if you are going to try to carb refeed, you need to have some time under your belt in regular ketosis before you try that. You cannot do that before you become fat adapted. If you do that before you become fat adapted, your enzymatic response to having carbs is going to be crazy high, and it's not going to come back down for a while. It's going to be rare, and then it's going to take even longer for you to become fat adapted and get into full-blown ketosis. So I was just listening to the doctor from the BPI nutrition thing that he's actually he's recognized as one of their top doctors that's part of their BPI program and sponsor, but he's also like a neurosurgeon. And he's a pretty built older dude. Like I think he looks like he might be in his mid 50s to late 50s, and the guy's jacked. And it was one of the things that I heard him talk about. He was saying 8 to 12 weeks in, even Thomas DeLauer says make sure you got a couple months under your belt before you even try carb refeeding, because you can screw yourself up pretty good. Now once you become fat adapted, and there is no true way to know that you're fat adapted. You just don't know, honestly, other than symptoms. Is your mental clarity gone? Are your energy up? Just overall, are you in a better state of well-being? Normally somebody would say, okay, at that point, you're pretty fat adapted. There is no gauge for fat adaptation. You have to actually look at the cell itself and know that it's utilizing fat 100% as its predominant fuel source. Maybe not 100%, but you get the idea. And you can't look at that. So there's no true way to know that you're fat adapted. You won't find that information anywhere where there's some doctor that says, this is 100%, this is how you know you're fat adapted. They just give you symptoms, and you just have to pay attention to it. Become fat adapted before you even try it. That's my main thing here. Yeah, okay, that's really all I had. I just wanted to talk about carb refeeding, carb cycling. Does it help me? Yes, it does. Just like Thomas DeLauer says, he does it every once in a while. He tries to stay keto pretty much all the time. But when he gets to that point where he starts feeling the achy joints and back and shoulders and stuff start to hurt, he knows it's time to have that carb refeed day where he gets some of those slower released digested carbs in, and he'll have an abundance of them, but then he goes right back into keto the next day. And normally that takes care of him for quite a while, which that's the same with me. It takes care of me for quite a while, and then I move on. But I don't recommend that to somebody that doesn't have control over themselves. If you have a ton of carbs today and you just don't have control over yourself, and you're going to keep roller coastering or snowballing down, just carbs every day, then don't do it, obviously. I've been doing this for 8 years, and I've been keto for like almost 19 months now. I have a lot of control over what goes in my mouth. And I just, I'm good for it. I know I'm not going to have problems, but the majority of people, they don't have problems, and I don't advocate it. But if you're having some extra pain, it's not going away on keto. If you're just wanting to see what happens, if you want to try something on a stall, like breaking a stall, if you have done everything and you've worked with one of your keto YouTubers that know a lot about this stuff, or one of your keto coaches or one of your groups, and you've tried everything, then I would say it's definitely an option. It wouldn't be something I would shy away from, because you're already in a stall anyway, and you don't know what form of stall you're in. And what is a true stall? A true stall is 4 weeks or more, is what Dr. Eric Westman says, at least 4 weeks. That's it. That's all I got. Just wanted to hang out with you guys and talk to you for a little bit and give you my thoughts on carb refeeding, carb recycling. All right, guys, take care, and keto on.